Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I wanted to make a quick video to give you some tips about my approach to distinguishing pests from pollinators. Now, this can be kind of a tricky subject in which not everyone is well versed, and many people have different opinions. So this is my take on it. What we're looking at right here are, of course, swallowtail caterpillars. I classify those in the positive category, the pollinator category. I actually grow things like this celery just for the purpose of feeding the swallowtail larva or the caterpillar at this stage to be able to keep them growing happily and healthily through the entire summer into the fall in my garden. Of course, I have a soft spot for butterflies. Who doesn't, right? They eat a massive amount of food, and you need to have lots and lots of availability, including like fennel that they have already eaten completely, just planted behind me. Earlier in the season, they ate all of my dill. They are munching on carrots. Basically anything in the Apiaceae family is favored by swallowtail caterpillars. And at this time in early September, I'm really happy to see, like, I think I have about 25 on this single plant of celery. So that feels like an accomplishment. Let me give you a distinction in the pest versus pollinator category. A pest caterpillar that is munching all of the foliage of my blueberries down. So I noticed this yesterday, and I've dealt with them before. And if you live in the southeast, you've probably also seen the yellow-necked caterpillars. So let me turn this around so that you can see up close and personal, and I will explain kind of what makes them a pest versus a pollinator, and what I plan to do to, in theory, control the damage that they are doing on my blueberries. So first of all, even before I even saw the caterpillars, I noticed like mass defoliation on this blueberry. Now, admittedly, this blueberry is in decline because of a pH imbalance, and I'd like to not lose it, but I live on planet Earth where plants die sometimes, so it's not entirely impossible to think that I might cut this one down by next year. However, I also don't think that it's reasonable that I just leave these guys here to do their damage, because if the plant does recover, because I have put down soil acidifier, this sort of defoliation damage will significantly reduce the fruit set for next year, because remember, blueberries set their next year flower buds on this growth, and the plant still needs to be able to photosynthesize in order to generate energy. So essentially what they're doing by defoliating this is making it so that I won't have any flower set, therefore no berry set next year. So I thought at first, well, it's just one plant, it's no big deal. Well, at first I thought it was just these three right here. But then I opened my eyes and realized, actually they're all over. There's a whole bunch back there. And yeah, they will just kind of keep moving along. Like now I see them here on the bush next to it. So I don't want to just leave them be. And what I've done in the past is just treat them with BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, which is a bacterium that essentially gets into the caterpillar's stomachs and then makes them feel full, and then they starve to death. But today, because I'm feeling a little froggy, I'm actually going to pull them off the plant. Oh gosh, they just drop right off. There you go. You see they're relatively large. And I probably need to not just let them go down on the ground, because they'll just move back in and eat more. So I'm going to actually squish them and feed them to the birds. So this is just an observation, but what's really interesting is when I get near them, they do this, and then they fall off really easily, and they burrow themselves into the ground. So I'm just squeezing them so that they will die. And I'm sorry if that was gruesome. So one of the easiest ways to tell if you have a caterpillar infestation is to look for their frass, also known as excrement. And you can see it in mass there. Caterpillar poo is pretty interesting in that it tends to be kind of bunchy. It's pretty easily distinguished from any other insect. Now, to make this not the most disgusting video that you've ever been subjected to watch, let's go back to pollinators, specifically a native pollinator that has recently been put on the endangered list, the monarch butterfly. What we have here are monarch caterpillars munching on milkweed. I don't think anybody would consider monarch caterpillar to be a pest, and really most people are now growing milkweed just for the purpose of feeding these caterpillars. And you can see the milkweed's a nice large plant, and there are caterpillars of all different sizes. You see a little one there. And the underneath of this is a slightly larger one. And a nice big fat guy here. So certainly the only reason I grow milkweed is to feed these caterpillars. Now on the same plant, I have an insect that would be considered a pest, and that would be the yellow aphid. However, it's not worth treating the aphid because that will negatively impact the monarch caterpillar, the pollinator. So when you grow one, you get both, and you just kind of have to resolve to not care too much about the pest in this case. I couldn't make this video about insects without also acknowledging the role that spiders play. Like them or not, you have them in your garden, and at this time of year is when you really start to see a lot of larger like orb spiders, or this is a writing spider or banana spider. And it's really funny because I don't consider spiders to be pests. However, I don't always appreciate what they eat. And in this case, I believe that is a butterfly that it grasped because the butterfly was here gathering nectar from these zinnias. The spider very strategically made his nest or her nest right here adjacent so that she could gobble up basically any insect that flies in her way. And in this case, it's just one of those situations of let nature take its course. Frankly, that's happening whether you like it or not. So sometimes the discussion about pest or pollinator really is more influenced by the plant itself. So it's funny, with these yellow-necked caterpillars, when I see them on oaks, it doesn't matter one bit to me because they're not going to do so much damage to the oak that they weren't going to kill it. The oak will come back next year, it's fine. But when they get on my precious blueberries, I get a little more offended and actually want to take action against it. And I think really that's probably the sort of critical thinking that we all need to have about insects, instead of just having an attitude of like, kill it all, because frankly, that's not sustainable or very logical. But you know, you can't also just be like, let them eat everything, because then you might not have any garden left for you to enjoy. So my best advice is to do your due diligence, figure out who is in your garden, what are they eating, and then make the decisions based off of that. And of course, I'm a pesticide-free gardener, so when in doubt, BT is really effective for caterpillars. You can also use insecticidal soap, and in the winter, you can use dormant oil or horticultural oil. But you know, I've been in this garden 11 years now, and really those three things are the only methods that I really employ for insect control. And like I just showed you here, because there weren't that many, hand removal worked perfectly fine. Well, I hope you're not too grossed out by this video, and I do hope to raise your awareness just a little bit about the insects that are in your garden munching on your plants right now in the beginning of September. Please be sure to subscribe to the Breathe the Plant Lady YouTube channel for more practical gardening advice. And as always, thanks for watching, everybody.